How's it going, guys? Bring Your Platoon here, and welcome to another great game in World of Tanks Xbox One Edition. And while I say great game, I really mean great games because this is going to be like a triple feature. Okay? Okay. I'm going to be featuring the AMX M454 tank in this video, and the reason being, why am I featuring this piece of shit? Well, because I've been racking my brain to make it not a piece of shit. So the biggest controversial question on this tank is whether or not to go for the 130mm gun or stick with the more accurate 120mm gun. So here's going to be a little breakdown for that decision-making process for everyone involved in watching this video. Or maybe I'm a little biased because I think the better gun, as of right now, in fact, is the 120mm gun. But the gameplay I'm showing you right now has the Derp cannon on it, as you can tell from the double AP rounds, one that is 250mm of penetration and the other that is 280mm of penetration, although you can't tell that on screen, but that's what the one in the middle is the premium round. So, yes, it's going to be one gameplay, or maybe two, depending on how I feel about editing in a fourth game for this entire video, and depending on how well my throat holds up into doing a long commentary like that. So, let's get right into it. Why would you choose the Derp cannon? It's got 560 alpha, as opposed to the regular 120mm 400 base alpha. Well, yeah, 560 instead of 400. You got it. It's got overmatch mechanic for more tanks. For example, you can pen the IS-4's roof, you can overmatch the Stridsvagn 103B, and other related, and the Tier 9, because that's really the only other tank on that line with armor. You can overmatch M103 and T110E5 sides easier, and it's just, the overmatch mechanic in this game can help you in difficult situations. Like, say, a 705 God damn it, an object 705A or 705 is face-hugging you, or, relatively speaking, an IS-7, or comparatively speaking, sorry. You can overmatch the roof of the IS-7's turret, because it has 2 or 3 spots. There's a spot in the very back of the turret on the roof of the IS-7 that is 30mm thick, as well as 2 viewports in the front of the turret on top of it that are also 30mm thick. Not the viewports themselves, those are auto bounces and they just absorb damage. The flat armor surrounding the viewports are 30mm, which means you can overmatch it even with the 120mm. Now I feel stupid. But the top of the 705A chassis and 705A, 705A and 705 respectively, have 40mm of armor on the top. You can overmatch that with the 130mm. You can't overmatch it with the 120mm because it needs to be at least, if it's three times, if it's more than 3 times the nominal armor thickness, or not the nominal armor, but the impacted armor thickness, it will go through. So yes, you will not be able to overmatch a 40mm plate with a 120mm gun. Doesn't matter how much pen you have, you won't be able to do it, and it'll be auto ricochet unless you're practically staring face down, or yeah, staring straight down on it. So that sucks, but it is what it is. Just another mechanic in the game you gotta get used to. But as you can see, like, the aim time for the 130mm is 2.3. Not terrible for a quote-unquote derp gun. However, I'm going to show you another instance, or another game, where I get into a sniping battle with tanks that are right out in the open, around 300 or 400 meters away. I shoot 4 times and miss 4 times. I'm not sure if I captured all 4 shots. It might have been only 3, but we'll see when we get there. And you can't hit anything reliably. If you pick this gun and you choose alpha over DPM, despite what little increase of DPM there is, like, you limit yourself to close range combat, and that is no joke. Like, he's like 200 meters away from me. I would not want him to be any farther, because that could have very easily missed the top of his turret. I probably would have hit the hatch, penning it as well, or I would have hit his mantlet or his front turret cheeks and bounced off, because that's just the kind of luck that I have with RNG. But the extra alpha is nice, and it does make people think more about going out in front of you for another shot into your lower plate, because if they honestly aim anywhere else, then they're an idiot. Unless they're aiming at, of course, your hatches, which aren't very well armored at all. But, like, I obviously pressed my luck with that shot, and I got punished for it. I only damaged his gun. I think I broke it, and he just had to fix it, which is why he hasn't fired yet. But I think he's going to try and get a shot into me now, and I bounce it. Yep, okay. So I put another high explosive into him, and this is going to be less about me. Check this shit out. See you later! But yeah, this entire video is going to be dedicated to the choice of derp or not to derp. And that's what this entire video is going to be about. So, this first game I showed you was with the derp, obviously. Great result for it. Not a phenomenal damage game, but a pretty generic good game overall. Let's go on to the next one. Okay, so the next game's on Amazon, and I'm once again going to be using the derp gun, just to show you when it works, it's great, but when it doesn't, it sucks ass. That's pretty much going to be every game, and then I'm going to, you know, switch guns for another 2 games, and then you can see the difference in gameplay, or play style, I should say. The gameplay probably won't be much different, but yeah, different maps, different guns, etc. Or maybe I do duplicate one of the maps on one of these gameplays, but oh well. Oh well. If it happens, it happens. If not, oh well. So, my plan of attack is to go down onto that bridge kind of setting in, like, just guesstimating here as far as the map goes. H7 and a little bit of, like, J9? No, that's too far. J8. H7 and J8. Okay, so I will be looking down at people with the derp gun and trying not to use the premium rounds, because 30 millimeters of extra penetration for a premium round is ass. But you do have to dip into them if you choose to pick this gun. My equipment loadout for both of the gameplays with the derp gun as is follows. I'm retarded, I can't talk. Vertical stabilizer, gun rammer, and vents. I don't pick optics because I try and help out the gun stats as much as possible, and I already have recon and situational awareness. Or maybe I don't. I actually switched over my AMX 50B crew to be this crew because that crew has like 15 perks on it, and I really wasn't playing the AMX 50B, and I switched over a 6 or 7 crew, 6 or 7 skills crew over to my AMX 30B, and I actually really like that tank, despite its obvious lackluster pen for a tier 10 medium wargaming. But it's a good tank. I like it. It's fast. It's got a good mantlet, and yeah, it's got view range and speed and all that. So I snapshot that guy. I'm not gonna lie, that is completely RNG based, what just happened there. And since I'm aiming down at these idiots, they think they can pen my mantlet, which does actually happen once or twice during this game. Once by the Patton, I believe, and then the other by the Centurion Action X, but that'll happen a little bit later, showing you that the mantlet can be penned from an angle if this thing's not aiming directly at you. Or even directly at you, you can still pen it, but it's a little harder. And you'll need premium for it. But, yeah, the frontal armor's holding up. The gun, for the one time that I fired it, did... Oh, did I fire twice? Oh, I did. That's right, into that pen. So, with the 120mm, I could have very easily penned the top of that E100's turret face with 315 pen. You really don't need any more, considering that this angle I'm aiming on top of him, and thus negating some of his armor effectiveness. However, even with 280 pen, I can't go through a very, well, I guess it was pretty fucking angled lower plate. And again, I'm aiming down on it, thus increasing the lower plate's armor values. But I would feel a lot... that was, again, RNG based. I would feel a lot more comfortable in this position with the 120mm on, because I can like shoot more effectively and more accurately, and it's not like... Okay, so I said in one of the gameplays for this tank that 280mm going through the top of that E100's turret, it's not in 75% chance to go through it. It's like a 60 to 65, and that's not good. Not good at all. Unless you hit, like, where the turret connects the turret ring, basically. I'll just say that. That sounds easier to comprehend. So, once again, another luck-skilled shot there into the Centurion Action X. I ram him for 180. He's firing Hesh into my gun, or just shot the gun with AP, and I know he's been underneath the water longer than I have, so I just hold him there until he drowns, and I get out because the tank itself is tall as fuck. But yeah, I knew I could get out of there no problem, and I don't know why he rushed there to try and get easy shot. Maybe to try and get easier shots on me. I don't know, but that's not a very good spot, in my opinion, where he went. But if this team had any, I don't know, balls or good mindset, they could have rushed me while I was dealing with that Centurion Action X, and my team probably would have left me to dry and die, and I would have been YOLO'd by the Patton or rammed by the E100 and just taken off a big chunk of my health, and yeah, there would have been nothing I could do when I was face-hugging him. Except there would have been something I could have done. I could have overmatched the top of his chassis armor by aiming down at him, but with tanks moving forward and backward, it is still hard to get a good shot with this thing with its only 8 degrees of gun depression, which isn't terrible for a heavy, but 10 would be better, obviously. I forget what the E100's top chassis roof armor is, but if you can overmatch it with a 130mm, I would imagine it's 40mm thick. So this game is coming to a close. I try to go in for the kill, and my light tank fucking flies in there. Or not my light tank, but the team's light tank. And I'm like, you know what? Just for that, suck my dick. I knew he wouldn't die because the fucking game was ending, and he wouldn't lose any credits for that because, again, you don't take damage after the game ends unless you jump off a cliff and you hit the ground before the victory pops up. But we won't talk about that, or how many times I've done it by accident out of sheer excitement or boredom. But that's the second game with the 130mm gun. Again, decent results as far as damage goes. Not great, not phenomenal for tier 10, best replay, whatever. It's not the best, it's not phenomenal, it's just decent. But yeah. So now I'm going to show you a clip of what happens when you have the derp gun on and you try and snipe with it from semi-long distances. Okay, so this guy's... Oh my. Okay, so they're a lot farther away than I thought they were. 521 millimeters away. Meters away. And when you have the derp gun on, I'll show you just how bad your accuracy can be. And RNG, of course. Who can forget? So, perfectly aimed shot at the lower side armor of the IS-7 as to not hit the spaced armor, and it fucking biffs low. Because RNG, I could go on and on about how RNG is fucking bullshit, and it shouldn't have that high of an effect in the game, but as you can see, I'm aiming where I should to pen that tank in the side, and it's just not fucking happening. So, now, I'm going to show you what a gameplay is like with the 120mm gun on. And for this game, I actually took off the vertical stabilizer because I don't believe that this tank needs it with the 120mm, because your aim time, guess what? It's 1.8 on a heavy tank, guys. 1.8 seconds on a heavy tank. It's hilarious. And to make matters even better for the situation, for using this gun, your standard pen, instead of 250, goes up to 264. Oh yeah, that whole extra 14 points really makes a difference. And while that would be otherwise sarcasm, it is not. You feel fantastic shooting at tanks with this thing, because not only can you snap shots in where you think that you couldn't, well, where you actually couldn't with the Derp cannon on, because the aim time's longer and the accuracy is worse, etc. But, like, you don't feel the need to dip into the premium rounds as much as you would with the Derp cannon on, thus ensuring that you make more money in it, and you don't have to constantly worry about having a negative, losing money during, or after every game. Jesus Christ! Stumbling over my own words. Okay, so, I have a lot of premiums loaded. I really don't need them, as I just went over. But should you choose to fire them, you gain 315 millimeters of penetration, which is great, and honestly, all you need. You don't need the extra 15, even though I just went into detail about how 14 extra points of penetration on the AP rounds makes a difference. And it does. And it helps, and it's awesome, but you don't need that extra penetration to go through a majority of the tanks. 315 is plenty to go through, like, the front of the Type 5 Heavy, the face of an E100's turret, a slightly angled lower plate of an E100. I could go on and on. But with the 120 mil, as I mentioned earlier already, you lose the overmatch ability, but you gain DPM, accuracy, and... wait, DPM? Well, you shoot faster. The difference between the 130mm gun, as far as DPM goes, and the 120mm gun is like 70 points of DPM. So honestly, use what feels better to you. End of story. Like, I can put shots into that captured King Tiger all day, because the accuracy, instead of being .37 on the fucking Derp gun, you get .35 for the 120mm gun, and it just feels so much better. You don't need to put the food on, but if you do, your accuracy is probably going to go down your accuracy is going to go up .02, which makes this gun .32, which is the same accuracy that the AMX 30B gets. And that's a medium tank. Very accurate medium tank. That's hilarious. But it doesn't need it. And I say that the accuracy goes up by .02. That's only if you have the food, including Brothers in Arms and vents. But if you have that, like... I would probably bounce off that captured King Tiger's turret with the 130mm on, just because it would have hit the side, or it would have bounced off the viewport on the top, or it would have hit the mantlet. But, like, this thing, look at me snapshot, kids! Like, instantly, turn the turret, fire, onto the next target. Look at this! Boom! No problem! I probably could have done that with the 130mm gun, too, but I feel so much more confident, and it shows in this gameplay so much about going against targets. Granted, most of them, well, the E4 was a tier 10, obviously, but the Charioteer and the captured Ting Tiger... Did I say Ting Tiger? We're both tier 8s. No problem going through them, and not even frontally I would have an issue with them. But, like, perfect engagement right here. I'm not going to face hug this guy because I can't overmatch him, and I know he's still on the reload. But with 264 pen, I have no problems shooting into that fucker's lower plate. With the Derp gun, 250 millimeters of pen might not have been enough. I was completely fine taking that damage. I hit him, I track him, okay, I just back up a little bit, and my team blows his fucking turret off. But, yes, I got overly aggressive there. But look! Do you see the difference, game? Or, guys. I called you guys a game. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. Don't leave, please. But it's just... it's a completely different tank when you can shoot at things properly and aim your shots, and 9 times out of 10 it'll go through or go where you're aiming. Yeah, RNG will fuck you, Like, okay, so it's like 75% of the time. But RNG, ignore RNG for this. Because a lot of these shots I take, like, that almost hit the UDES. If that wall wasn't in the way, I would have hit him. This gun is incredible. Like, why suffer the lack of penetration your entire game with the Derp cannon, hoping that you're going to face some lightly armored targets or some targets on the side, when you can just shoot... Oh my god, I went through that fucker's turret with standard ammunition. That's hilarious, although he is a tier 9, not the tier 10. The tier 10 probably would have bounced that off of him. But we're getting into the premium rounds now. Reason being is I had a lot of them and only 15 AP rounds loaded. But I feel, again, just look at the way I'm playing. Like, I have no worries right now. They're all running like idiots instead of engaging me because, well, look at the score. They're not going to stay and fight. I wouldn't either. Just to try and rack up as much damage as I possibly could. But snapshotting on the move, no problem for this tank. It is great. And I gotta reload. That guy gets killed. I'm like, oh, hi, Scorpion G. Put another snapshot in. Because why not? Then I go up to him. I want to finish off the UDES. I'm going to ram this guy and then kill him. But the already had other plans. And then I make my way for this E75. But I don't get there in time, and he just gets dicked on by everything that can see him. And the game's over. But, like, look at the score. I did this twice in a row. The games I'm going to pop up for the 120mm are back-to-back. Granted, that's not going to happen, you know, a lot of the time, regardless of what gun I had on. But you get this result a lot more with the 120mm. That you do with the 130mm, because it feels right. You don't have to worry about not being able to pen anything. You don't have to worry about hitting just weak spots. You can not overmatch, that's the wrong term, but you can load premium and actually have a damn better chance than you did before. And you got better base pen too. Like, what's not to like about this gun? Ooh, it's got 400 alpha. The DPM sucks on it for every other heavy. It's just a shittier Super Conqueror. Well, the Super Conqueror is slow as fuck and fires every 6 seconds. So, if you like the Conqueror, then by all means, you're going to love the Super Conq. But this game, I don't like playing tanks over and over again that have very high win rates, like OP tanks, quote unquote, like the 252U. People say that it sucks because of the gun, but it can bounce tier 10 rounds off of it reliably. It's pretty funny. What else? The Conqueror hull down cannot be hurt by anything unless you hit the hatch, and sometimes you can't even see it because reasons, although in the Conqueror or Super Conq, respectively, aims anywhere else, their turret slightly to the left or the right, you can pen the mantlet because the mantlet is shaped in such a way that equalizes its armor in the opposite direction of which way you turn. And that sucks, and it's still very hard to hit, no doubt there. But it's got spaced armor on it, you can't fire heat at it, and it's just funny how much punishment that thing can take. And when you go from the tier 9 to the tier 10 Conqueror, you can side scrape in it. You gain that ability because of the added spaced armor. It's pretty funny, but I don't enjoy playing tanks like that. They're not fun. Like, autoloaders don't take skill, it just takes, you know, waiting and patience, and you unload your clip, and then you fall back, and your team takes a few hits for you while you're reloading, and then you fucking go out and unleash hell. The Foch B is no different. The T-57 Heavy. Any autoloader you can think of. Other than the Cheery, because the Cheery sucks dick. But if we're all in agreement on that, then there's nothing else to really say about it. But yeah. Where was I going with that point? I don't know. Oh, that's right. I don't like playing overpowered tanks. I like playing the underdog tanks, like a lot of people don't like the ARL-44. I actually hesitated there because I saw a lot of tanks going to town, and if they all rushed at the same time, that I was not going to do that. But seeing as how a lot of them stayed at the hill, I just decided going in town was the better idea. So I'm using my armor here, and I was going to tell you how much I like the ARL-44, but I have plenty of videos on that tank. Just you want to see gameplay of me wrecking in that thing, go ahead and just look it up on my channel. So RNG kind of fucked me there. I only tracked the Carnarvon, and then I couldn't get another shot into him because I missed. And now I'm going to push and help this 257, even though it's going against my better judgment to help this guy. He will end up dealing enough damage, or taking enough, that I can hold this front by myself, or this flank, sorry, by myself. Like, there's a 705 right there, and then there's something else, a 50 TP. I biffed that shot, kind of rushing it, and that was a bad play on me. I don't mean to push this guy. I reposition a little bit so I can help him out while still angling my frontal armor. I pen his lower plate through his track because his side armor is garbage. Oh, that's what it is, a 215B. Okay. Not the Death Star. Yay! Free kill for me. Okay, he's going to be cover, as well as that other dead tank for tanks coming in from that way. So I know I can engage this guy, but I just want him to shoot me so I can bounce. But I don't want my side armor to get hit, so I just decided to floor it. He shoots heat at me, but still bounces because he aimed at my upper plate. Or my middle plate? I don't know. But he bounced. That's good news for me. I, with my 120mm gun, can fucking finish him off because I've got only 9 seconds of a reload. Not terrible, again. Whereas with the 130mm, I would still be reloading for another 5 seconds. But just putting in some free shots, I know the 60 TP has a long-ass reload on it because it's got a 152mm on it. And I nudge this guy, hoping to save that 257. Unfortunately, he still kills him because 257 is not very well armored if you know where to shoot it. But, yeah, so I'm bouncing rounds like a madman. I'm expecting this Object 277 to shoot at me. I know the 60 TP is going to shoot at me again. I just angle my plate towards him. I rock back and forth. I bait him to shoot my track. He does not penetrate my side armor, thank God. Was really thinking the 277 was going to rush around to my left side there, but he didn't for some weird reason. And then I know I got to put some easy shots into that Carnarvon. He probably could have shot my turret there. I don't know why the Carnarvon didn't shoot my turret there, but whatever. I've got premium loaded because the 60 TP is very well armored indeed in the front. Even the lower plate is pretty well armored. And I probably could have penned his little weird hatch on his upper plate with the 264 pen, but I just wanted to ensure that he died, as there was 2 other tanks in front of me, and I did not want to get overrun. So, had to guarantee a pen. 277 finally makes a move on me to my right, and he gets dicked on by the Death Star, which is honestly the only reason why I survived this engagement. But, like, the damage racks up just the same. If you feel better using the Derp gun, I honestly don't understand your mindset, because just, I'm surprised I didn't do more damage to the Carnarvon. He must have a spall liner on or something, I don't know. But the game's practically over, and once again, not a phenomenal amount of damage done here, but I blocked a shit ton, showing again that the frontal profile of this thing is a force to be reckoned with. Oh my god, I've been talking for 28 minutes, almost 29. So, in conclusion, 120mm all the way, just because you can hit things and pen them reliably, and even if you can't, load the premium that isn't shit, and then you can go through no problem, a majority of the time. And if you miss, or don't penetrate with the 130mm gun, you'll be on 14 seconds reload instead of a 9-second reload. Maybe a little bit less if you're using the strong coffee. But, yeah. So, thank you guys for watching. This is my first time doing this long of a video. Hope it goes over well, and I'll catch you next time.